going a little too fast for me. Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's snowing outside, but the volleyball action is heating up inside the Utah Athletic Center as we get ready for our 1 p.m. game, our semifinal number 2, pitting the home team Utah Stingers versus the visitors, the Las Vegas Ramblers. Again, semifinal number 2. Winner of this match moves on to our championship final this evening at 7 p.m. local time, where they will face off against the Orange County Stunners, which just pulled off a 5-set victory over Team Freedom, this morning's first semifinal match. And as the teams finalize their preparation and finish their warm-up here on Stadium Court, we will be getting underway here in just under 10 minutes. Looking to be a very highly competitive semifinal. As we said, this is number 2. And here we go with a little insight from the coach. Over to Olivia.
Thanks, Matt. Coach, you and your team are always on the same page. What does that page look like today?
That page looks like what we've been doing. We don't want to make any changes. You know, our lineup's going to remain pretty consistent. I think those guys came out firing in the last 2 matches. Again, goes back to serve, pass. We stay in system. We don't bleed too many points from the service line and attacking wise, and we're going to give ourselves a good chance to win.
Who are you looking for to step up from that service line?
You know what? I would really like to see Mather really start to go after his serve. You know, there's times where he goes after it, and there's times where he, you know, takes a little bit off and just trying to keep the serve. And I told him after yesterday, I said, hey, go after that thing. You have the green light. Let's go get it. Put some pressure on those guys.
Perfect. Now, John Luca, big game offensively. Who else are you looking for to be weapons in that area?
You know, Kendall Ratter, our 0-2, hit I think 800 yesterday on 13 kills on 17 attempts. So we're really looking for him to have a big match again, and we're going to rely on him to take out some of the junk. We have a high ball situation. He likes to hit those high hands, and we're hoping that we could have another efficient night for us.
Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Matt, back to you.
Thanks, Olivia. Really good insight there from the Ramblers coach. Yeah, just to reiterate, Ryan Mather, number 14, the opposite hitter for the Las Vegas Ramblers, carrying a heavy load and expecting high production out of his shoulder, both from the inline with his serve. He's got a very strong, lethal serve, and we did see him go on several service runs yesterday where he's got a nice high toss, long approach, and he can get on the ball very fast. And then offensively speaking, front row and back row, Ryan Mather will look to be very, very active offensively for the Ramblers. And just to second that, their 0-2 hitter, that's Kendall Ratter. He had a great match last night, obviously hitting for a very high efficiency. But don't forget the libero for the Ramblers, Ryan Schickling, got a lot of digs, passed the ball very well. A very well-rounded squad. You have Tanner Maxwell doing the setting, running the offense, being the quarterback for the Ramblers throughout the match. Middle blockers are obviously no slouches. You've got Mark Lane out of Golden West College in Huntington Beach, California, and Antoine Aguilar, the former Long Beach State men's volleyball player, who's got a couple years of professional indoor volleyball under his belt in Europe since he graduated from Long Beach State. So the Ramblers, they played 1 game yesterday, and the Utah Stingers, as the number 1 seed from the pool play round robin action over Thursday and Friday, actually had 0 games played yesterday as they received a bye to today's semifinal. So look for them to come out with some good energy, ready to go. They're well rested. I know they watched a lot of tape. Coach, player manager Russell Holmes preparing his team adequately. He's an Olympian. And right now, Olivia has some words from Russ.
Matt, Coach, a couple matches under your belt already. What are you looking for to be the difference maker in this one?
Well, we know the Ramblers are a good serving and passing team, so we want to focus on our end of the service serve and receive. So as long as we can put pressure on them from the service line, I think we'll be in good shape. Passing well ourselves so we can run our offense smoothly. Just playing disciplined blocking defense, really. Yeah.
Now who has the green light from you back there on the service line?
I'd say Jake. We got a good serving sub in Carson Henninger. Those 2 guys will be the difference, I think.
Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Matt, back to you.
Thank you, Olivia, and thank you, player manager Russell Holmes of BYU fame. Nice to hear some insights from him. Yeah, Utah Stingers looking for big contributions from Jake Langlois, also a former BYU Cougar and USA Men's National Team member. Also, Leo Durkin will be running their offense. Number 4, the setter in yellow. Again, another BYU Cougar alumni. Obviously, as the home team, they have quite a few Cougars on their roster, but look for some good role players to chip in as well and make this match very competitive. As we said, semifinal number 2, a ticket to the finals are on the line to play the team OC Stunners, who are waiting in the wings. And we're just about to get underway. We have our starting lineups out on both sides, and for the Utah Stingers, we see Leo Durkin with the setting responsibilities, middle blockers. We see Russell Holmes and number 5, Rusty Lavaya. We have outside opposite hitter number 9, that's Jorge Mencia. Libero duties falling on number 0, that's Chandler Baugh. And finally rounding out the team will be number 7, that's an outside hitter, Storm Faagata Tufuga, another BYU player out of Long Beach, California. For the Las Vegas Ramblers, you have Ryan Schickling wearing the gold-colored jersey. He's playing libero. You have Antoine Aguilar and Mark Lane playing middle blockers for the team in black. You have Kendall Ratter as the 0-2. Tanner Maxwell will be running the offense, former Grand Canyon University Antelope. You have Gianluca Grasso, the Brazilian player who played his college volleyball at USC. And also Ryan Mather will have the heavy duties of playing opposite for the Las Vegas Ramblers. The lineups are in, the players are ready, the referees are positioning themselves, the third team on the floor, and we are just about to get underway here. Semifinal number 2, first serve duties fall on Grasso. Jump float serve, passed up by Storm. Durkin goes back to Storm on a big attack for a quick point out of the gates. Nice 2-man game there between Storm and Leo Durkin. Nice to see a first option back row Bick coming in. Leo Durkin now first server for the Stingers. Jump float serve down the line, taken by Ratter. Maxwell goes quick to Lane. That gets rattled around, comes out clean. Langlois out of system left side attack, dug by Grasso. Maxwell overhead to Mather, roll shots it back, dug out by Storm. Langlois left side attack, high hands again, dug by Grasso. Here's Ratter on the left. He gets blocked back, covered, and not able to get over the net. Give that point to the Stingers, and Jorge Mencia with the block. A nice extended rally there, back and forth. Ryan Mather not getting a set that he could really put some good heat on. And the Stingers find themselves with an early 2-0 lead. Jump float serve, passed again by Ratter. Mather out of system, roll shot, cross court, dug by Mencia. Langlois throws it down between the blocker seam. Oh, cagey veteran play by Jake, and that's another point for the Stingers, now up 3-0. Not necessarily playing better, just getting a couple of good bounces and nice deflections and extending the rally and able to score the points for the Stingers. And float, passed up by Schickling. Maxwell goes out to Ratter for a left side attack for the point. And the Ramblers find themselves on the board here early in game number 1. Antoine Aguilar enters the front row as Schickling comes out as the libero. And Mark Lane takes over the serving duties for the Ramblers. Jump float serve down the line to Langlois. Langlois passes, Durkin sets Jake right back again, and another 2-man game played by Stingers. Langlois gets the pass, Durkin the set, and Langlois the kill. Now 4 serving 1. Jake Langlois back to serve, former BYU Cougar, current USA Men's Indoor National Team member. That was a nice high toss, jump serve, roll shots it, passed by Ratter. Maxwell goes quick to Aguilar, that's Doug. Here's Mencia in transition, passed up by Grasso. Oh, a little unfortunate mistiming there between Maxwell and Aguilar, and the ball's not able to get returned over the net by the Ramblers. And mark another point to the Stingers, now up by 4, 5 serving 1. Langlois again, his second serve in a row this time around. High toss, jumps into the court. Good heat, but a better pass by Ratter. Here's Mather on the right. He goes OT, cross court, and that one finds Langlois arms and out of bounds for a point to Mather and the Ramblers. So Mather, expecting to carry a heavy offensive load, needs to get his arm going. And here he is as his first service attempt early in this first set. You could see him serve plenty of volleyballs yesterday and score points with this jump serve. As we said, he does have the green light, and although that one does find the net, I'm sure he will find his range as this match continues. Still early action here, 6-2, Stingers with a 4-point lead in set 1 of our second semifinal. Here's Lavaya back to jump float serve. He gets passed up by Grasso. Maxwell goes overhead. Mather out of the back row, and that finds Russell Holmes's head. He gets airmailed out of bounds off of Russ. A nice point by Mather. And the Ramblers are now down by 3. And I think we see Mather saying, set me some more balls to get me going. I love swinging against Russ Holmes. I've watched him play for a long time, and I can hang with him. Here's Maxwell. I'm sorry, that's Ratter with the serve. Mencia overhead. That ball gets hit out of bounds as Mather does a great job dodging out of the way. We did watch a team viewing of Dodgeball, the movie, last night, and obviously Mather was taking some good statistics and good notes in that match. Here's Kendall Ratter again, serving for the Ramblers. Still down by 2 points. Jump float, cross court, passed up by Ball. There's Durkin outside to Storm. Ramblers looking for a chowder call, double contact, not called by Tony Chan, the up ref. And that ball is hit out of bounds wide by Storm. Now we're down by 1. Ramblers within striking distance at 5-6. Kendall Ratter in his pre-serve routine. There's his jump float. Cross court, passed up by Baugh. Durkin chooses Storm, left side. Nice block by Maxwell and Antoine Aguilar with a well-formed 2-man block for the quick point, shutting down Storm. Now we're tied, 6-6. Kendall Ratter continuing his service run for the Ramblers. Jump float serve has posed to be somewhat tricky, and that one finds the top of the tape and does not make it over. Give the point to the Utah Stingers. So here we have Jorge Mencia, the 6'6" opposite out of Cuba, with a jump float serve, passed up by Antoine. Maxwell goes outside to Grasso with the no-look line swing. Very cagey play by the Brazilian outside hitter who did play his college volleyball at the University of Southern California for one Jeffrey Nygaard, the head coach down there for the Trojans. And we're deadlocked at 7. Here's Antoine Aguilar back to serve. His jump float comes across the court, passed up by Langlois. Russell Holmes gets a set. That one's blocked back, hit over. Maxwell goes back to Grasso, a little throw down, and I believe we're gonna have a net violation against Russell Holmes and the Stingers. And now the Ramblers are the first to 8, and we find ourselves at our TV technical timeout. Early action here at the NVA Salt Lake City Showcase. Semifinal number 2, Utah Ramblers versus the, Utah Stingers home team versus the visitors from Las Vegas, the Ramblers wearing black and gold. Right now you see the Stingers, there's the Ramblers. Everyone's kind of strategizing. Early action here, figuring out what each team is gonna do. A little bit of a chess match early on in every volleyball game. And don't get me wrong, these teams have definitely prepared. They've watched each team play. They have video on each team. I'm sure they've put together high quality scouting reports. They know what preferences and things each player prefers to do. And as you see there, Coach Vince, he's getting his team all on the same page before they come back out to action. And we want to give a quick sponsor shout out to our official volleyball of the NVA, our sponsors with Mikasa. Thank you so much, Mikasa, for producing the best volleyball in the game and being the official volleyball of the National Volleyball Association. Just a few more final seconds for this technical timeout to run out, as both teams are more than ready and prepared to get back onto the playing surface and continue this second semifinal here in Salt Lake City. It is snowing outside for those of you who are viewing from some of those warmer climates around the world. Thank you for tuning in on our live stream through NVA USA. And you can see there's been a rather consistent snowfall for most of the morning. We're actually into the afternoon here, local time. It's 1:06 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, and there's going to be a few snowball fights going on once this tournament concludes this evening after our 7 p.m. championship match. So, yeah, here we go. The teams re-enter the court. Technical timeout has completed. Durkin calling the plays for his team, looking at his lineup matches, his hitters versus blockers, very astute and keenly aware of what the matchups are. And here's Antoine Aguilar back to jump float. He goes down the line, passed up by Baugh, good pass. Here's Mencia out of the back row, blocked back, covered by Langlois. Storm on the left, roll shotted, pick up by Grasso. Maxwell goes for a high tip to the corner. Maxwell with the cagey open hand dump deep to the coffin corner and give the point over to the Ramblers. 9 now serving 7. And Olivia, can we have some insight from that technical timeout, please?
Thanks, Matt. On the side of the Stingers, we have Coach Futi back, and he said we need to be good with our hands on the net. He's really looking to see his opposites take some swings, and he wants his libero to be ready to pick up all the fluff. And he said we don't need to force it right now. We're looking like we are, but there's a big difference between playing hard and forcing it. Matt?
Thank you very much for that insight, Olivia. Yeah, nice to see a full-time coach on the bench for the Utah Stingers as Futi missed Friday night's match. You saw Russell Holmes being a player manager, which was a little tricky and rarely seen. So there's a winner swing by Jake Langlois in transition. Look for Jake Langlois to carry a heavy offensive load. He's a very experienced outside hitter. He's about 6'8", 6'9". I was speaking with him prior to this match, making sure I understood how to say his name properly. He's going to have a heavy offensive load. Here goes Grasso with an opportunity. That gets played back, kick volley back over the net. Durkin goes quick to Russ in transition, dug by Mather. Maxwell goes back to Mather. There's a tip, picked up by Durkin. Begging for a net call, not going to get it. Langlois gets blocked out of bounds, but long. And a point for the Stingers. Ramblers coach pleading for a net violation against the Stingers. He's not going to get it. Maxwell calling his plays for his hitters. And here's Storm back to serve now for the Stingers. Passed up by Ratter. Maxwell goes quick to lane. Rejected by Holmes, but covered. There's Grasso with the left-handed tip, picked up by Langlois. Langlois now on the left. He goes high hands for the winner. Deep into the court, taking advantage of his height and range, and finds the high hands for the kill. And now we see the Las Vegas Ramblers call their first timeout less than halfway through this first set. The Stingers coming out of that technical timeout with a little bit of emotion and some momentum. Currently winning by 2 points. You see them conversing over there, catching a quick drink, discussing strategies and preferences of the opponents. Roll shots, and you see Coach Futi there giving some pointers to, I believe, Jake Langlois and Russell Holmes. Futi, obviously another BYU Cougar alumni who had a storied playing career up in Provo. Nearby, a strong hometown influence on the Utah Stingers. Meanwhile, Ramblers have their game plan set. They're going to start off with a good pass, see if they can get their middles involved, get that pass up to the net so that Tanner Maxwell has 3, sometimes 4 solid hitters to set, or actually call his own number and be a physically active setter. So here's Storm with his jump serve, and he appears to have been clean. Grasso goes left side, and that's blocked by Russell Holmes. Again, we have the Ramblers begging for now a foot fault, although the linesman whose job it is over there to see that did not call it. He's literally standing 10 feet from where Storm is serving, so he has a pretty good view of the inline and knows the rules of the game, and he's not allowed to touch the inline. Here's Storm's toss. That time he did foot fault, and that serve goes out of bounds, so double negatives do not equal a positive in that option as Storm misses his serve, and now we have Tanner Maxwell back to serve for the Ramblers. Serving 12, midway through this first set. Maxwell jump serves, his attempt goes out long through the inline and give the point over to the Stingers for a very easy side out. Rusty Lavaya comes back into the middle opposite Russell Holmes as he goes back, ready to serve. Russell Holmes' patented jump float goes cross court to Ratter. There's Mather on the left, controlled back, covered. Maxwell goes back to Mather again, controlled back, tipped. That time it's blocked by Durkin. A little frustration as someone on the Ramblers team kicks the ball into the rafters. Slight frustration there as the Ramblers find themselves down by 4 and the Stingers up 14 serving 10. Once again, Russell Holmes goes back to prepare his patented jump float serve. If you've been a Russell Holmes fan for a long time, we've seen him develop that float serve to international levels, and that attempt by Grasso goes out long. So the Ramblers kind of reeling here right now. Compounding errors, several hitting errors, need to find the court with their attacks, find the court with their service game, and we're going to see the first substitution for the Ramblers. This is number 32. That's Joshua Duarte coming in. He's a middle blocker, 6'6", from Santa Clarita, California, that played his college volleyball at Concordia University of Irvine. And Mark Lane is going to take a minute to catch his breath. I think this is just a bit of gamesmanship, trying to slow down the pace of play here by the Ramblers and see if Russ Holmes can continue this service run. That's passed by Schickling, out of system. Mather on the left, 3-man block by Langlois. Covered by Grasso. Mather again on the left side. This time, 4th time is a charm as he gets a point high off the hands of Rusty Lavaya, and the Ramblers right the ship and get back to within 4. And I believe that was 4 straight sets for Ryan Mather over those 2 rallies, and he was finally able to get the kill. Grasso back to a jump float, passed up by Langlois. Durkin goes backside to Mencia. That one's dug by Maxwell. Mather has to set far side to Ratter. Ratter swings to hit the net, but we have a net violation, I believe, on Leo Durkin. And the point goes to the Ramblers. Now Ramblers within 3. 12 serving 15. Creating a little bit of momentum for themselves. Team in black, jump float serves down to Ba. Passed up by Durkin. Lavaya blocked back by Duarte. Here comes a down ball from Langlois, dug up by Schickling. Outside to Ratter. He goes high hands for the point cross court and the kill. Ratter making the smart swing to go off of the setter's hands for the Stingers there, thinking that he's a bit of a blocking liability as opposed to challenging their middle blocker with a cross court swing. Gianluca Grasso back to serve once again for the Ramblers. The jump float serves down the line, passed up by Ba. Here's Langlois on the left. He throws it down, covered up by Maxwell. Grasso goes over, dug by Storm. Langlois again, he goes down the line, and that finds court right in front of Tanner Maxwell, who's in disbelief that he did not hit the ground and dig that ball. So we see a nice matchup there between Ryan Mather and Jake Langlois, 2 very large, physically statured outside hitters. It'll be fun to watch that competition play out during this match. Here's Ratter, can't pass that ball adequately, and that's an ace for the Stingers. So they earn their point back. It's Leo Durkin gets the service ace. Now up by 4, 17-13. As we slowly get closer to this 25th point of the first set. Durkin decides to change it up, maybe catch the Ramblers sleeping, but his serve attempt doesn't clear the net and give the point to the Ramblers. Here's Duarte back to serve now. He was the 3rd middle blocker, freshly substituted in for the Ramblers. Not too sure what to expect from his inline service skill. Looks appear that he is going to jump serve. There's a nice toss. And he mishits it, cuffs it, rolled up, passed by Langlois. There's Mencia on the left, roll shot, dug by Duarte. Maxwell goes overhead to Mather. Mather deflected by Lavaya, but he gets the point as that ball gets outside of stadium court playing area. Currently 17 serving 15, excuse me. We'll reverse that, 15 serving 17. Ramblers down by 2. Trying to find some momentum on their side and pull within a few more points. And Duarte says not that time, as that toss and spike might not have been to his liking, and his serve finds the net once again. Stingers back up by 3. Jake Langlois back to serve. Dangerous service game from the inline. Jake, nice heat, pass by Ratter, out of system. Mather on the right. That's blocked by Storm, covered, but the ball careens out of bounds. as the Stingers score again. All started by Jake Langlois' strong service attempt and a nicely formed block by Lavaya and Storm Fagata Tufuga. There's Jake Langlois once again. The snow falling in the background. Passed up by Schickling, overpass. Lavaya cleans up the overpass and scores the point for the Stingers as they're the first team to score 20 points in this first set. Ramblers coach asking if he has another timeout, contemplating, but decides to save it for a few more points as Jake Langlois prepares to serve once again. Jump serve, strong, passed up by Schickling into the middle of the court. Pass, attacked nicely by Antoine Aguilar there. Give credit to Ryan Schickling for fighting off that serve. That is an international level jump serve, and Ryan Schickling just put a dime right on Tanner Maxwell's head so they could run quick and give the credit kill to Antoine Aguilar. Here's Ryan Mather now on the inline. Nice serve by him, passed up by Langlois. Lavaya gets the kill down for a quick kill. Credit Jake Langlois for making that pass on a very high level good serve by Ryan Mather. Lavaya now back to serve for the Stingers. He played his college volleyball at BYU, like many of these team members did from the Stingers. There's a jump float, passed up by Grasso, out of system. Ratter goes cross court. Mather with a three-man block in front of him, played up by Storm. Free ball coming from Durkin. Passed by Mather. Maxwell goes left side to Ratter. And he is stopped by Mencia. One-on-one solo block to Jorge Mencia. So the Stingers outplaying the Ramblers a little bit, winning the emotion game and keeping the momentum on their side as the Ramblers decide to use their second timeout, down by 6 points here, getting late into the first set. Stingers riding great momentum, causing some strong service pressure from the inline, catching the Ramblers passers on their heels a tiny bit, forming a nice three-man block against Mather. Transitioning and getting their middles involved early and often through this first set, whether it's in side out and serve receive or transition attacks. And you see over there on the Ramblers side, coaches discussing some strategies, trying to get some insights from the guys that are on the bench and what they see and maybe where certain players from the other team are hitting the ball and where we need the Ramblers blockers to line up to stop the offense from that team in yellow. So that timeout comes to a conclusion as the teams come back on the court. We see Rusty Lavaya back, ready to serve. Ramblers currently out of timeouts, down by 6. Lavaya's jump float serve here, comes across, passed by Grasso. Maxwell bump sets to Mather. He gets shut down by Russell Holmes. So a little bit of a out-of-system play by the Ramblers results in another block by Russ Holmes and the Stingers, and you can tell that the Stingers are relying heavily on their block and defense, and it's paying dividends for them throughout this first set. Rusty Lavaya again, jump float. Nice flat serve, pass up by Ratter, slightly out of system. Mather on the right. This time he gets a kill as that ball finds Russell Holmes' hands and is careened out of bounds on the far side of the court. So Mather continuing to just unload on the ball. He's not slowing his arm swing down. Nice to see the setter go back to him after he got blocked by Russell Holmes on the previous play. There's Ratter on the jump float serve. 17 serving 23. Mencia tips it over, played up by Maxwell. There's Grasso on the left side. He goes high hands, dug by Langlois, but we find another Stinger in the net. And I believe that was Jorge Mencia. Disbelief that he netted or was called for a net. He claims that he did not net, didn't feel the net. I said, I didn't feel the net, ref. That's what he just said. Ratter back to jump float serve, passed up by Langlois. Overhead set to Mencia to redeem himself, played up by Mather, but not able to be returned by the Ramblers, and the Stingers find themselves at game point number 1 in this first set. Jorge Mencia back to serve, game set point number 1, and that ball finds the net. Poor service attempt from Mencia. Didn't even make its way halfway up the net, unfortunately, and Need a little bit more of a better service attempt next time from him. So here's Antoine Aguilar serving for the Ramblers, down by 5. Game point for the Ramblers, pass by Ball. Durkin goes big to Langlois, dug by Aguilar, played over by Ratter. Another option, here's Storm with no blockers up as Maxwell jumps and Storm puts the ball away for the kill, and that concludes game number 1. Stingers 25, Ramblers 19. So Stingers coming out of the gates fast, clearly seeing that they had a nice rest day yesterday, focusing on their recovery, watching good video, knowing what the Ramblers were going to do, as Ramblers had a match last night, and preparing their game plan nicely. The Ramblers now, they need to figure something out here. They need to come up with a game plan of what they need to do, and I believe it starts with their serve game. They didn't produce any points with their serve, and also that what that results in is their block and defense needs to be emphasized going into this next set. I believe the Stingers were able to hit at a very high hitting efficiency percentage, as I don't recall too many blocks being done by the Ramblers, and recall quite a few kills going down by the Utah Stingers, especially that one at game point by Storm with no blockers up, as I did see Tanner Maxwell kind of pop on a middle blocker. Now you do have to respect the middles for the Stingers. You have Russell Holmes, he's an Olympian, former All-American from BYU, grew up in Fountain Valley, California. I do recall coaching Russell Holmes when he was probably about 15 years old. That was a long time ago, as Russell now calls Orange County his home in Southern California. But the middle attackers on the Utah Stingers squad is definitely a key factor for their team's success throughout this tournament. Over on the Ramblers, they're going to need more production out of Gianluca Grasso. He had a couple of good opportunities there, although I think the set locations might have not been to his liking, and he may need a little bit more space going against these larger blockers from the Stingers. Now, Grasso is a little bit undersized as an outside hitter, but he's Brazilian, and you know that volleyball is in the Brazilian blood system down there. And Gianluca played his, like I said, played his college volleyball at USC, where he played a huge role in that program's success over the most recent few years. So look for the Ramblers to come back out of the gates and be a little bit more emotionally invested. If they want to have a chance to make it to the championship game, they got to right the ship a little bit. So we'll throw it to Olivia for a little insights from the coaches.
Thanks, Matt. On the Ramblers side, you nailed it. They're definitely looking to up the energy level. They said they know everything from the back row attack from the Stingers is going their way. They're also looking to continue to serve, but a little bit more aggressively in this set. Now, on the side for the Stingers, they said, we know our matchups now. We know they're going to Ryan Mather. Let's keep this up and continue to build. Matt?
Thank you, Olivia, for that quality insight from those team discussions during that short break between sets 1 and 2, as we're working our way through here our second semifinal of the day here in Salt Lake City. Quick thank you to our hosts, the Utah Athletic Center, for hosting us here since Wednesday when the teams got into town and started training and preparing for this 4-day event that wraps up and concludes this evening. If you're ever in North Salt Lake City, make sure to stop by this beautiful facility and say hello. Play a couple of games of volleyball, maybe get a quick workout in their CrossFit gym, maybe just shoot some hoops, or maybe just get out of the snow. And it's a beautiful location, so thank you to the Utah Athletic Center. Action begins here in game number 2 as Leo Durkin finds the net with his serve, so the Ramblers get a freebie, and they're up 1-0, and we see Ryan Mather stepping back to be the Ramblers' first server of game number 2. Politely asks some of the fans to scoot over so that he can have his preferred serving location. Here's his attempt at a jump serve. And that's the Mather that we've seen before, although a great pass dug up by Grasso. Maxwell goes back to Mather, trying to get him going, and he gets blocked by Mencia. And Lavaya pair up for a nicely formed two-man block on Mather in transition. So Mather comes out with a great serve. Stingers are able to get it back over the net. And another set to Mather results in a Stingers block. And the block and defense continues to be effective for the Utah Stingers. There's Langlois jump serve. That one finds the net as well. Stingers 0 for 2 on service attempts in this second game so far. I think maybe a light bulb might have gotten in Jake's way that time, as the contact with the ball wasn't as ideal as he was hoping for. Kendall Ratter now serving for the Ramblers. Jump float, cross court, passed up by Baugh. Durkin goes overhead to Mencia. Mencia down the line as he attacks the shorter blocker of Grasso and puts it down with authority in front of the standing platform of Ryan Schickling. So nice range by Mencia. Waiting to see some people hit some line in these matches, as most of the guys have been attacking the meat of the court, but Mencia showing he has range to do so. And Rusty Lavaya now jump float serve, pass by Ratter. Maxwell goes back to Ratter. He tips it over, played up by Russell Holmes. There's a free ball coming from Langlois, short to Mather. Maxwell goes quick again to Ratter out of the back row, and Russell Holmes all by himself with a nice solo block. Thank you very much. May I have another? Doesn't get much easier for that. Doesn't get much easier than that for Russ Holmes. He didn't have to move. He was standing there. Maxwell set the ball directly in front of Russell Holmes, and Russ got his hands over the net for another stinger block. Better pass up. Here's Antoine Aguilar. That one's dug. Aguilar and Storm jousting, and Storm Fugata Tafuga wins that joust. The block and defense of the Utah Stingers proving to be extremely proficient and strong early on in the second set and through the first set there. Storm, Fa'agata Tufuga winning the joust. And Lavaya back to jump float serve. Left side attack by Grasso, blocked again by Mencia. Aguilar sets Grasso again, high hands, and this time Grasso scores the point as he aims for the ceiling and finds fingertips of the block of Russ Holmes and Jorge Mencia. Well played strategic swing by Gianluca Grasso. For those of you that might be volleyball players, outside hitters specifically, that might be closer to the 6 foot tall range or possibly lower than that. That is a key skill to develop as you hit up against the bigger blockers. And the Stingers come right back with a great swing attack from Storm Fa'agata Tafuga, saying his name quite a bit here, regularly and often so far in this match, as they're relying on him to be a high producer. There's Mencia jump floats to Grasso, pass Grasso on the left, and he swings cross court inside the hands of Durkin for the kill. So a little back and forth here, nice rallies, nice offensive attacking, and nice block and defense by the Stingers. So two teams going back and forth. Stingers up by 1 as the Ramblers serve 4, serving 5. Tanner Maxwell goes back to jump serve. Passed up by Langlois. Durkin goes over on 2. It's picked up by Schickling. Mather overhead in transition. He sneaks the ball inside Russ Holmes' block for a point. Russ can't believe that he reached to Mather, and Russ misses an opportunity to get another strong block against Ryan Mather. So a nice battle forming there between Mather and Russell Holmes. Tanner Maxwell misses that serve cross court. And the Stingers go back to a 1-point lead, now serving 6-5. Storm Fa'agata Tafuga back to serve, the 6'3" outside hitter out of Long Beach, California. Played his days at BYU in Provo. He's a Cougar. Maxwell goes overhead to Grasso, and he gets blocked by Russell Holmes again. The Utah Stingers really showing their block and defense superiority. You have Jake Langlois, he's 6'9". You have Russ Holmes, he's 6'8", blocking together against Gianluca Grasso. And that's advantage to the Stingers. My roster says that Grasso is 6'2". So clearly giving up about 6 inches in height to Russell Holmes and Jake Langlois on the Stingers. Here's Mencia out of the back row. He tips. Looks like that will find the ground in front of 2 diving Ramblers for a point going to the Storm. And we have reached 8 points, and that means that's our first technical television timeout. Early in set number 2 action, Utah Stingers with a 2-point lead, 8 serving 6 over the Las Vegas Ramblers. This is semifinal number 2 action from the Utah Athletic Center and the National Volleyball Association. Thank you for tuning in on NVAUSA.com. My name is Matt Prosser. I'll be running you through this semifinal as we look for some high-quality men's volleyball action, and hopefully everyone out there is enjoying this broadcast and production that the NVA has put on for this weekend. This is a 4-day tournament. It started on Thursday. It had 8 teams paired in 2 pools of 4 for a round-robin format. All 4 teams advancing to the playoffs, depending on their seeding. We saw the Utah Stingers win their pool, and that gave them the 1 seed, which essentially gave them a bye to the semifinal. And they did not have to play a match yesterday. Teams finishing 2, 3, and 4 in their respective pools did have to play yesterday, and that's where the Ramblers found themselves playing yesterday evening, winning that match handily in 3 over the Tennessee Tyrants, which then puts them into this match right now. And although they are down 1-0, maybe a little bit of fatigue is starting to set in for the Ramblers as the Stingers are a little fresher. Their legs might not be quite as wobbly. And the home team of the Utah Stingers obviously got to have some good quality rest and recovery in their own beds at home to prepare for this match. So a few final words here for Mencia and Storm and head coach Footy for the Utah Stingers. Meanwhile, the Ramblers are prepared and ready to get back onto the court. Keeping the mood light, even though they're down by several points and down in 1 set to the Utah Stingers here in semifinal action number 2. For those of you that have been watching throughout the weekend, you see assistant coach there, Nick England. He's been assisting me with the play-by-play broadcast action, and he's going a little bit back and forth between team duties with the Ramblers and broadcast responsibilities with me, so we miss him right now as unfortunately everybody watching only gets to hear my voice for the entirety of this match. And Russ Holmes gets a jump float over to Ryan Schickling. And there's Josh Duarte with a good kill. So let's see what Olivia was able to find out during that TV timeout.
Thanks, Matt. You mentioned Nick England. He is over there trying so hard to fire up his guys. He said, we looked like a completely different team last night. Whatever we need to do to be that team again, let's do it right here. He said last night we were chasing down balls, running back and forth from the court. Let's pick up our guys and be there for each other. Matt?
Thank you for that, Olivia. Yeah, the emotional game within the sport of volleyball is highly, highly important when it comes to creating momentum and celebrating your success on the court. So Duarte jump serves, passed up by Baugh. Here's Storm out of the back row. He decides to tip, and that ball doesn't clear the net. So give the point to the Ramblers. And they start to create a little bit of emotional momentum. And there you see Nick England cheering on his team. Number 13 wearing the sweater. Josh Duarte back his serve again. I think this is his 3rd service attempt. Jump serve, passed by Storm. Durkin goes over to Langlois, hard cross-court attempt. That goes off the rafters. It's playable. Here's Grasso. He comes in with a full head of steam. It did turn out to be a pretty good set, but can't be too upset with an aggressive error like that, but I think Grasso might be questioning his choices right there. So Stingers up by 1. Leo Durkin back to serve. Leo Durkin, a setter, his college days at BYU, spent in Provo. There's his cross-court serve, passed by Ratter. Here's a bick to Grasso. Nice repeat to Grasso, and he reestablishes himself as a terminal outside hitter, and he finds the open court for a point. 9 serving 9. Ryan Mather preparing to serve. Ryan Mather needs to produce some points for his team back here in the Ramblers side of the court. Big serve passed up by Langlois. Langlois on the right side now. Blocked up by Antoine, and that ball finds the floor. So, huge serve by Ryan Mather, but Langlois says, I've seen that before and I will pass that. And then Langlois gets the set attempt and gets a kill. 10 serving 9. You see the importance of Langlois' experience and size paying dividends for the Utah Stingers. Here's Jake's jump serve now. Passed up by Schickling. Maxwell from the 10-foot line goes overhead to Mather. Tipped over the net, dug up by Baugh. Here's Storm in transition, high hands dug by Grasso. Aguilar decides to set. Ratter down the line, but we have a net violation by Jorge Mencia once again, and give the point to the Ramblers. That ball was hit out of bounds. Unfortunately for the Stingers, Mencia found the net violation, and the point goes to the Ramblers. There's Kendall Ratter preparing to serve. Nice jump float down the line to Storm, passed up, out of system. Durkin goes back to Storm, dug up by Mather. Left side attack, Grasso tips over the block, picked up by Durkin, and another net violation by Mencia and the Stingers. So 2 consecutive net violations resulting in the Ramblers' first lead of the second set. Mencia really needs to stay out of the net, trying to be a little overly aggressive on his block move, and finds himself back-to-back net violations, and Ratter lets them off the hook as that ball finds the antenna, ricochets back into the court, but that officially is out of bounds. Rusty Lavaya now back, serving 11. Jump float serve, passed up by Schickling. Maxwell goes quick to Aguilar. Finesse tip, pancake by Storm. That ball finds the ground as the referees all confer that that ball did in fact find the playing surface and not Storm's hand for the pancake. So everyone at home understands, our referees here in the gray polo shirts, the up ref and the down ref, do have radios back and forth that they do speak to one another with their earpieces so they can converse and discuss certain plays from a distance. They want to make sure they get their calls right. They don't want to be a deciding factor in this match. They want this match to be decided by the players in the uniforms and not the referees on the sidelines. Here's Mencia, jump float serve, pass by Grasso. Back row attack by Ratter. He drops a bomb off of Langlois' arms. He was right in the right position, but Ratter with some serious heat out of the back row. Wow, haven't seen that kind of attack from Ratter yet in this match, and maybe his shoulder is starting to get warmed up as this game goes on. Now here's Maxwell serving at 13-12. Midway through the second set, jump serve goes out of bounds long, and give an easy point side out to back to the Stingers, and we're tied at 13s. Ramblers really need to produce some points from the inline, get some service runs going instead of just going back and forth 1-to-1. And here's Storm with a nice jump serve. Grasso on the right. He avoids the block and hits it out of bounds long down the line. Oh, hold on a minute. We have a net violation called against the Stingers, pointing towards Jake Langlois. I think he's kind of laughing. I don't think he felt that net. But again, the Stingers, their block has been very effective. But however, that's 3 straight net violations on the guys in yellow. Here's Langlois back on the outside. And he responds with a nice cross-court kill off the high hands of the Ramblers blockers. Well, let's see if the Stingers can stay out of the net this time as Russ Holmes goes back. You see Lavaya, Langlois, and Durkin across the front row, 3 former Cougars. There's Russ Holmes with his jump float serve. Pass by Ratter. Maxwell sets. Duarte, he finds the off-speed 31 attack for a point. Not the prettiest swing, but it finds the floor and it works for a point. So Ramblers continue to stay up by 1 on that side out as Duarte steps back and prepares to serve. High toss, jump serve from Duarte. And that ball goes out long through the inline, so mark the point again to the Stingers as that's back-to-back service errors from the Las Vegas Ramblers. Ramblers really need to find their service game and level up on their serves, put some pressure on the Stingers. Durkin jump floats to Grasso, passed out Maxwell, goes quick to Aguilar. He gets the kill. A nice little 31 gap play. And Antoine responds nicely with a quick kill out of the middle. Here's Durkin, goes left side to Mencia, dug up by Grasso. Aguilar sets in transition, and that ball goes out of bounds, but again the Stingers are in the net. Oh, that's about 4 out of 6 plays. This time Jake Langlois says, yes, I did in fact net. My bad, apologies. At this point, it is somewhat comical that 4 out of 6 points have been on net violations going against the Stingers. Nearly every play has resulted in a Ball hit out of bounds, but a net violation. And Ryan Mather responds with an ace off of Chandler Baugh. Maybe that's a nice start to Ryan Mather's service game, as the Ramblers desperately need him to piece together a few serves here. As the Ramblers now have created a 3-point lead, middle of set number 2 here. Ryan Mather again jump serving, that one goes out long. Here's Jake Langlois, back to serve for the Stingers. Passed up by Ratter, ball clears the rafters nicely. Here's Mather out of system, dug by Langlois. Durkin goes outside to Storm. That ball looked to be sailing out of bounds as Grasso tried to play it. Looked like there might have been a touch on the block. And give the point to the Stingers. Nicely played by the gentleman in yellow. Jake Langlois back to serve once again for the Stingers. Nice jump serve, pass by Schickling nicely up to the net. There's Aguilar with a nice finesse shot over the tape. And he finds the floor for a point, and the Ramblers score 19. Kendall Ratter going back to serve. Emotions getting a little higher here. Late action from set number 2, semifinal number 2. Kendall Ratter jump float serves down the line to Storm. There's Lavia with some heat, and Mather digs the ball, but Maxwell gets caught up by the equipment and can't pursue that ball as it finds the court for a point towards the Stingers. Ryan Mather with a nice dig, able to sit in there, not afraid to get his head taken off by that serious heat from Rusty Lavia as he goes back and prepares a jump float serve. Down by 1, down the line, passed up by Ratter. Maxwell goes again to Aguilar. That's tipped over, dug by Lavia. Storm on the left side, transition, and this time the Ramblers find a net violation as these Stingers rally back to tie the game at 19 apiece. Seeing quite a few net violations throughout this second set. This is a very aggressive game, and we're seeing that translate to some net violations. There's Aguilar. He finds some space in front of Russ Holmes and give the point to Antoine. Everybody takes a quick deep breath. Nobody net violated that time. Clean kill for Antoine. And the Ramblers riding a 1-point lead as he gets back for his jump float serve. Passed up by Storm. Durkin calls Russell Holmes' number as he prepares and gets another kill out of the middle for the Stingers. Very well-rounded action by the Stingers so far, other than Mencia's net violations. Stingers are playing a very solid game of volleyball here. Passed up by Ratter. Grasso from the left, that gets dug by Langlois. Durkin goes over on 2, catches the Ramblers block asleep at the net, and give the point to Leo Durkin. Nice heads-up play by him. Josh Duarte upset with himself, not being fully invested and aware that Leo was a front row setter. And now we have the Stingers up by 1, 21-20. Mencia jump floats over to Ratter. Maxwell goes to Grasso, and he goes off the Durkin block for a point. So, former Trojan goes up against former Cougar. The Trojan wins that battle this time and score the point to the Ramblers, 21 serving 21. Tanner Maxwell, the former Antelope out of Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona, prepares to serve. And his jump serve goes out long. Tanner Maxwell struggling to find his serve routine, his serve getting comfortable with it throughout this match so far. The Ramblers need him to produce some service points and some pressure from the inline. As we see Storm back to jump serve for the Stingers. Passed up by Grasso. Here's Grasso out of system. Oh, a little miscommunication on the block as Langlois decided to jump, but his 2 teammates decided not to, and Grasso gets basically an open net to score the point for the Ramblers. Grasso now back to serve, the Brazilian with the jump float serve. Cross court action, dug up by Ba. Storm out of the back row, come flying with authority, and he gets a kill off of the block of Josh Duarte. Russell Holmes now back to serve for the Stingers with a 1-point lead here, 23 serving 22. Jump float serve over to Schickling, passed up, Maxwell goes to Duarte, and he scores a quick point out of the middle for the Ramblers. So nice, quick offense from both teams, and we're going to see a serving substitution here. Number 15 for the team in black, that's Stephen Duho. He's a 6'4" backup setter, played his college volleyball out of Orange Coast College and also the University of Hawaii, growing up in Newport Beach, California. Didn't see Stephen play much last night, so we're going to see what he can do to contribute from the inline. There's a jump float serve. And his contribution doesn't really help the cause for the Ramblers as his serve finds the net, and he is promptly substituted right back out again by the Ramblers. So unfortunately, Steve can't contribute very well. Duarte comes back in, and then he gets replaced by Ryan Schickling, the libero for the Ramblers. So set point for set number 2 to the Stingers. Here's Leo Durkin prepping. He will jump float serve, bit of a hybrid. Pass by Ratter. Maxwell goes quick to Antoine, dug up by Ba. There's Mencia, and he does a cheeky little swipe play off the block of Ratter, and the Stingers take game number 2, 25-23. And they take a commanding 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 match. Nice action from both teams throughout that game. Always like to see a highly competitive deuce game, 25-23 again, with the Stingers kind of coming back here and winning that second set. Mencia redeeming himself after several net violations through the middle of that second set, scoring the final point for the Stingers, giving them, again, a nice controlling 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 match over the Las Vegas Ramblers. Now, if I'm a Rambler player, I'm looking at each other. They're awfully quiet on that side over there. Coach Vince is giving some insights. Tanner Maxwell joins the huddle once again to discuss maybe what they need to do and reevaluate their strategies here, because they need to right the ship if they want to have an opportunity to maybe possibly win this match in 5. You know, their only focus needs to be on this third set. But they do need to reevaluate themselves, look at each other in the eye, create some fire on their team, and get some action going here to create some momentum and push back a little bit. The block and defense of the Utah Stingers has clearly been dominating this game so far. I don't know how many blocks they've had for points, but I am very willing and confident to bet that it is probably double digits and much higher than the block of the Las Vegas Ramblers. For those of you that have been playing volleyball for a long time, it may not be unfamiliar to be down 0-2 in a best-of-5 match, but it's not over until the Fat Lady sings. And again, this is a marathon, not a sprint, but when you're the Utah Stingers and you have a 2-0 lead, you want to finish this game off as fast as possible. So look for them to continue to instill the pressure from the inline and along the net. They're loose, ready to go, and let's see what Olivia has to say and chip in for some insights from the other teams. Olivia.
Thanks, Matt. You've nailed it for both of the squads. For the Ramblers, they said the biggest thing that we need to pick up right here is our serving. They had 12 service errors in those first 2 sets combined. And for the Stingers, you nailed it. Their blocking execution is superb. They are leading 18 blocks to the Ramblers 7. Matt?
So they have basically doubled up on the blocking category, and with the service pressure that the Stingers are placing on the Ramblers, that's going to be a tricky equation to try to figure out for the Ramblers. Utah Stingers winning the block and defense game and also the service pressure game, and most likely the hitting percentage is probably in favor of the Stingers as well. So the teams are back out on the court, getting ready to start set number 3 here, semifinal number 2. Winner will move on to the championship final tonight at 7 p.m. local time, where they will face off against the Orange County Stunners, who won the previous semifinal in a 5-game barn burner over Team Freedom. Loser of this match goes on to play in the consolation third place match. That takes place at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Here's offense by Storm and the Stingers, picked up by Maxwell. Schickling sets Ratter, and he gets the first point of the game with a nice tool swing off the block and give the point to the Ramblers. So nice swing by Ratter. Here's Grasso with a jump float serve down the line, passed out of system. Langlois left side, blocked by Mather, and that goes out of bounds just barely as Durkin was there to ensure that the ball did not land on the line. Langlois carrying a heavy offensive load and being highly successful thus far. Leo Durkin back to serve for the Stingers. Jump float, pass by Ratter. Duarte throws it over with his left hand, and he is able to find the floor for a point. And give credit to Duarte to clean that one up a little bit and score the point. Ramblers now up 2-1, early action of game number 3. Josh Duarte back to serve now. High toss, step close, jump serve. Taken by Langlois. Left side attack by Mencia, blocked by Mather. Maxwell goes back to Mather again. Mather dug by Durkin. Storm. Here comes Langlois with a little roll shot, passed by Grasso. Mather again in transition. This time he finds the retreating Langlois, but almost gets the dig, but give the point to Ryan Mather. And the Ramblers find themselves up 3, serving 1. Langlois almost had a nice running dig there, but didn't quite come to fruition. There's Joshua Duarte back to serve again. And that ball finds the net. Rally kills himself for the Ramblers, and the Stingers will take advantage of that as Langlois goes back to serve. Really don't want to miss your serve and give the Stingers a free point when your next server is going to be Jake Langlois. He's 6'9". He is a high-level international volleyball player, and he has a very strong jump serve, as we see that. Passed up by Schickling into the rafters. Out of system play coming to Ratter. 3-man block, and that's Lavaya getting a nice stuff down. 3-man block by the Stingers. So I believe that's block number 19 for the Stingers. And we're only 6 points into this third set. And you see the block and defense is really a pillar of the Stingers' success so far. Here's Langlois back to serve once again. That one gets blasted into the net as his confidence continues to increase from the inline. Those hard serves from Langlois and the rest of the Stingers have aided in those 19 blocks indirectly as they find the Ramblers reeling and playing from an out-of-system attacking point. Now here's Ryan Mather with his jump serve. And that ball goes out of bounds. Ryan Mather continues to turn up the heat on his jump serve, although he has not yet found any regularity on the location of it. He may need to turn it down a notch, find his rhythm, put the first one in, see if he can score a point, and then go back and get the green light from coach for another one. Rusty Lavaya's jump float serve goes out of bounds. Okay, so here comes Ratter after the missed serve from the Stingers. Ratter prepares for his jump serve, clinging to a 1-point lead, 5 serving 4. He pillows it across over to Storm, passed it up to Russell Holmes, and he finds the floor as the Ramblers are pleading for a double contact. Leo Durkin with the wry smile. Not sure if he thought that was a double contact, but point goes to the Stingers, and we continue to play. It's 5 serving 5. Schickling passes to Maxwell. Antoine, his attack goes long. He sees a touch, and Tony Chan does, in fact, confer with Antoine. Yes, there was a touch, Antoine. I will call that. And it is now 6-5 Ramblers. Antoine Aguilar, former Long Beach State men's volleyball alumni, serves his ball across the Storm, passed up, taken by Durkin. Mencia dug by Mather. Maxwell goes left side to Grasso, deflected, dug by Storm with a pokey. Here's Langlois setting the storm, and he gets stuffed down by number 32, Joshua Duarte of the Ramblers. And finally, the Ramblers get on the blocking statistical board, and that ball finds the ground. It's nice to see a block coming from the team in black. Josh Duarte contributing with that. Antoine Aguilar, jump float serve, passed up by Chandler, out of system. Durkin goes to Storm, blocked by Maxwell, dug by Grasso. There's a back row attack by Ratter off the block of Russ Holmes, and that ball goes out of bounds. So the Ramblers riding a bit of momentum here as we reach our technical timeout. The 3-point lead here with early action in game number 3. So high-level volleyball being played throughout this third set right now. The Ramblers with their backs against the wall. If they lose this set, they're packing their bags and will be playing in the third place game as they are currently down 2-0. Early action through this third set. So welcome once again. We're at the Utah Athletic Center. Quick shout out to our sponsor, the official volleyball of the North American Volleyball Association, Mikasa. Thank you so much for your continued support of our wonderful sport and creating the best volleyball in the game, currently being utilized here by our players throughout the weekend. We're at the Utah Athletic Center, North Salt Lake City in the great state of Utah. It is snowing outside, but there is some high-level, very competitive volleyball going on here in Stadium Court, as this is our second semifinal of today's schedule. The Las Vegas Ramblers versus the Utah Stingers. If you're just now joining us, the Stingers are maintaining a solid 2-0 set lead over the Ramblers in this best-of-5 contest. Currently the score is, I believe, 8-5. Ramblers with a 3-point lead, and the momentum has slightly shifted over to the Ramblers as they've been able to manufacture a few points here with the offense of Ryan Mather and the blocking of Joshua Duarte. Antoine Aguilar on a nice service one for the Ramblers, so they're producing some points. And meanwhile, the Stingers, the home team of the Utah Stingers, mostly made up of former BYU Cougar men's volleyball players, have been dominating the block and defense game and also the service pressure game from the inline, as they currently have 19 blocks versus the Ramblers 10. And you see, when you mainly win that category, you do become a tough team to beat. So our technical timeout has concluded. The teams come back out onto the court. And here we see Antoine Aguilar with his jump float serve, comes up, shoveled up by Chandler Ball, out of system play. Here's Storm on the left side, 3-man block, and he uses Tanner Maxwell's right arm and hits that ball out of bounds. So Storm Fagata Tufuga with a nice attack against a 3-man block, taking advantage of Tanner Maxwell's exposed right arm and scoring the point to the Stingers. There's passed up by Ratter. Maxwell goes outside to Grasso. Roll shot picked up by Mencia. Langlois, quick set in transition. Josh Duarte shovels that two-handed play over, and he finds the floor for a point. He looks around a little bit in disbelief, like I meant to do that, but I'm surprised that I did, and give me the point. Ramblers up by 3, 9-6. Tanner Maxwell back to jump float serve, and that one will find the net for another service error. Tanner Maxwell's game from the inline has not helped the cause for the Ramblers, as he clear frustration there with his service attempts have not been that useful for his team. Meanwhile, here's Russell Holmes, former USA Men's Volleyball Olympian, with his patented jump float serve, cross court to Ratter. Here's Duarte, quick dug out by Storm. Durkin goes back set to Mencia. He tips it over the block, and that ball misses Ryan Schickling's pancake attempt. Give the point to Mencia, and the Stingers pull within 1. Russell Holmes now back to serve again. Jump float over to Ratter. Tight pass, misconnection out of the middle, and Mather can't get it over. Grasso, that's 4 touches for the Ramblers, and that's 1 too many, as these Stingers now score another point. Russell Holmes back to serve. Here's serve number 3 in this service run by Russ Holmes. If you've watched him play, you've seen he's relied on this jump float serve for quite a long time during his storied career. There's Ryan Mather going over and out of bounds. Not even close to finding hands or any bit of the playing surface. And the Rambler coach has seen enough, and he calls a timeout as the Stingers take the lead, 10-9, as we approach the halfway point of set number 3. So, Stingers coming right back out of that technical timeout and taking all the momentum away from the Ramblers. And as we've seen throughout this tournament, these teams relying heavily on that characteristic of gaining the momentum and carrying it through multiple points and then riding that momentum for additional advantages throughout this game. Volleyball is a game of momentum. Momentum can go back and forth regularly throughout a match, but usually the team that has the momentum wins the points, wins enough points to win the game, and then eventually results in a match win as well. So can the Stingers maintain the momentum for the next several points through this game 3 and see if they're able to close this match out in 3 sets? Only time will tell as we continue down the road here in semifinal number 2. Russell Holmes back to jump float serve again. That one finds the net. So give the point to the Ramblers coaching staff for calling a timeout and icing Russell Holmes once again. And we're deadlocked at 10s. Here's Gianluca Grasso, the Brazilian, via USC. His jump float serve gets set by Durkin. There's Langlois blocked by Ryan Mather. So Mather gets on the blocking board for the first time in this match, and it comes midway through the 3rd set as he finally is able to stop Langlois' attack from the left side. Grasso back to serve again. And this time his serve finds the tape and doesn't get it over, as the Ramblers continue to shoot themselves in the foot and can't create any kind of momentum from their service game from the inline. Here's Leo Durkin back to serve now. Number 4 in yellow, jump float serve. His serve finds the net. So back-to-back service errors from both teams as Josh Duarte saunters back. Leo Durkin laughing in disbelief that that serve didn't clear the net. Duarte now back to serve for the Ramblers. Let's see some Team Freedom players there enjoying some baked potatoes in the background. Durkin sets left side to Mencia. That ball gets hit off of the block of Ryan Mather and out of bounds. Point goes to the Stingers. Jake Langlois now gets set back to serve for the Stingers. He's going to come out of area 6. He's got a nice high toss. Strong jump serve, and that can't find the playing surface, and it goes out of bounds long. Point goes to the Ramblers. So a bit of a service lull here from both sides. Each team not allowing themselves to create any momentum from the inline as they ping pong back and forth from their service games. Here's Ryan Mather now. He'll try his jump serve back from area 6. Let's see if he dials it down a notch. He does not, and that serve finds another net for a 3rd straight service error. So anyone out there that's a fan of men's volleyball, they're not unfamiliar to see so many service errors in this game. It's just sort of part of the game at this level. There are service errors, and serving game is important. There's Aguilar, he tips over, picked up by Durkin. Mencia in transition from the right. That ball gets hit off the Rambler block and goes out of bounds. Give the point to the Stingers. Stingers hanging on to a 1-point lead on that side out, 14 serving 13. Rusty Lavaya now back to serve for the Stingers. Here comes his jump float serve. Slapped across, passed by Ratter. Ratter out of system play there, and he can't find the court, as Tanner Maxwell might not have given him the most ideal set. It was a little bit of a underhanded potato bump set. And some frustration setting in for the Ramblers as Lavaya continues to jump float serve for the Stingers. Cross court, pass by Grasso. Ratter dug by Lavaya. Set by Durkin. Storm with no blocker up, dug by Grasso. Here's Mather in transition from the right. He finds the court. Linesman makes maybe the incorrect call initially, but then fixes it as Tony Chan confirms that this attack was in fact in, and the point goes to the Ramblers. Conversion here, scoreboard check and maybe server check as Ratter is the next server for the Ramblers. Jump float serve, comes cross court to Chandler, pass up to Durkin. Right side attack by Mencia, tries to joust with Grasso. There's another joust by Storm. Mencia dug up by Mather. That ball goes over and should not. Play continues. Mencia tips. And we have a net violation on Gianluca Grasso. So, high-level volleyball going on here, although the Stingers are in control by 2 points. As we get closer to the business end of this third set, we're going to see a quick substitution for the Stingers. That's number 11, Carson Henninger, come into the game as a serving substitution for Jorge Mencia. Let Mencia maybe catch his breath a little bit. He's been working hard for the team in yellow. And Carson Henninger, number 11 in yellow, back to jump serve. Ooh, his jump serve just misses wide. Nice attempt by Henninger, begging for a overturn, but he's not going to get it. As Mencia will come back into the game for Henninger. Mencia comes back in. As the opposite hitter, he goes back to right back location and prepares to hit out of the back row. As Antoine Aguilar serves for the Ramblers. Passed up by Ba. Durkin goes back row to Langlois, dug by Mather. Ratter goes back row, and he is shut down by Russell Holmes. Russell Holmes putting on a blocking clinic on how to stop the big attack from the opponent. I believe that's block number 20 for the team in yellow, the home team Utah Stingers. Storm with his jump serve curls it to Schickling. Grasso timing an issue on that play. Russell Holmes sets backside to Langlois. Controlled, here's Maxwell. He goes to Mather in transition, and Mather misses cross court. The Stingers find themselves with a 3-point cushion, 18 serving 15. Storm Fagata Tufuga back to serve once again for the Stingers. Nice jump serve, pass by Ratter. Maxwell goes to Gianluca Grasso, and there is a timing issue going on between those two. You go here, I go there, and that results in a unfortunate misconnection and not able to get the ball back across the net. So Ramblers are reeling at the moment, down by 4. Storm continuing service pressure from the inline, and that ball gets served out of bounds. So Ramblers let off the hook there, find themselves down by 3. They need to regroup, figure out what play they want to run, and it all starts with getting this serve in the court by Tanner Maxwell. Here we'll see another serving substitution. This might be a setting substitution as Tanner Maxwell comes out for number 15. That's Steven Duho once again, the backup setter for the Ramblers. And we'll see what Steven can do on this opportunity. Some clarification here by the score table. Everything seems to be good and straight at the scorekeeper's table. And then Steve tries his jump float serve, cross court, passed up by Ba. A little tight. There's Grasso. He cleans up the overpass for a quick point to the Ramblers. Now down by 2, 17 serving 19. Nice pass by Ba, outside to Langlois, and that ricochets off of the shoulder of Ryan Schickling, who can't quite get that ball picked up in time. And now the Stingers are the first team to 20 as Russell Holmes steps back and prepares for his jump float serve. And it comes cross court, passed by Ratter. There's Mather on the left. He goes OT and down into the corner for a nice strong kill. A little discussion between him and Durkin. And Ryan Mather from the left side gets a nice kill and keeps the Ramblers within 2. And here we see Gianluca Grasso back to serve for the Ramblers. His jump float serve comes across, passed up by Storm. Mencia comes out of the back row. That's deflected and dug by Grasso. Grasso gets called out of the back row. That ball is dug by the libero. Here's Langlois, roll shots it in, passed up by Steve. Schickling, shovel dig over to Ratter. Ratter self-covers. Steve sets in transition. Ratter again, and this one goes out of bounds, but we have a touch called by the linesman, and Ratter finds the fingertips and give the point to the Ramblers. 19 serving 20. Nice to see a little resolve by the Ramblers, not giving in. And falling down by several points, staying close, finding some emotion and a little momentum now. There's Durkin, outside set to Langlois. Roll shot down in front of the defensive players of the Ramblers. Langlois with a very cagey roll shot down the line. Nice to see his range. And I'm sure he's utilized that shot throughout his time in Europe. And now the Stingers have a 2-point lead at 21 serving 19. Here's Durkin, slaps it across, pass by Ratter. Ratter again getting a set. Nicely formed two-man block, but Ratter rattles it through. He's able to find the floor, and he gets a kill. We're going to see a service substitution here. This is number 77, Antonio Boucher. He's a 6'4" outside hitter. Hometown from Vegas, played his college volleyball at Long Beach City College for one Randy Tutorp. So Antonio back to jump float serve. That ball's hit long, out of bounds. And once again, the Ramblers shoot themselves in the foot. They're not able to make their serves. So Antonio frustrated with that as Duarte comes back in. He promptly goes out, and Ryan Schickling comes in as the libero. So here's Jake Langlois serving 22-20, 3 points away from solidifying the Stingers' place in the championship game. And here's his jump serve. Out of system pass from Schickling. Grasso. A little bit of a chaos play here, and it appears that Ryan Mather rolled his ankle on Ryan Schickling somewhere as that ball bounced off of the rafters. Maybe he slipped. Hard to tell what really happened, but there were a couple bodies on the floor, and Ryan Mather's going to give a quick systems check here, catch his breath, test it a little bit, figure it out, and I don't think the Ramblers have another timeout to call, so Mather needs to take a quick little injury timeout here and see what he has. At this point in this match, you don't want to lose Ryan Mather, although it's 23-20 Stingers. They are in control. And the Ramblers do, in fact, have a timeout, and they will take it as Ryan Mather walks it off a little bit and sees if his ankle is capable to carry his 6'8" frame through the rest of this match. So, once again, not too sure what happened there. The pass ricocheted up out of the ceiling, came down from the rafters with a little bit of heat. Ryan Schickling and Ryan Mather sort of made some kind of contact there, and unfortunately it looked like Ryan Mather might have rolled his ankle a little bit. But anyways, back to some analysis of what's happening here. The Stingers have a nice 3-point lead here late in the third set. They're 2 points away from punching their ticket to the championship match here tonight against the OC Stunners. So if they're able to close that out, they will be playing tonight at 7 p.m. Now, don't get me wrong, this match is far from being over. And you never know in this sport. Someone can go on a service run. All the Ramblers need is a quick side out and a few points on their side to possibly force this match to a fourth set. Now, the players are ready to get back on the court. The timeout has concluded. As the players walk back out, you see Ryan Mather taking a few extra seconds there till he has to get to his place on the court. He is a front row player at the moment, so could be interesting to see how that shakes out. So here's Jake Langlois serving 23-20. Turns it down, pass by Grasso. Ratter, he gets blocked, but out of bounds. Mencia's block goes out of bounds wide, and give the point to the Ramblers. Nice heavy swing by Ratter. good to see that he's not going to let go or hold back as this match progresses. And so the Ramblers down by 2 points. Ryan Mather now back to serve. 21 serving 23. Interesting to see what Ryan Mather serve attempt looks like after that slight ankle roll here. Can he swindle up an ace? That's a little bit rolled back, passed up by Chandler. Lavia, he hits it out of bounds wide. And now the Ramblers are down by 1. So Ramblers finding a way to get back into this game. Ryan Mather making a nice adjustment to take a little bit of heat off of his serve and make sure that his block and defense gets a chance to score a point, and that's exactly what happened as Lavia, his hit attack goes out of bounds wide. So here's Mather again, getting ready to serve. Down by 1. And he rolls it in. Chandler passes it up. Durkin goes to Langlois, dug by Mather. Here comes a free ball from Grasso. It makes it over, passed up by Ba. Lavia this time able to find the floor and rattles it through, swindles a point for the Stingers, and now they have match point number 1 for the home team in yellow. Rusty Lavia continuing to serve here. Nice offense production from Lavia, and now he goes back to serve match point for the Stingers. Grasso passes it up. Middle block, back by Russell Holmes. Here's Ratter on the left, and he swings and misses the fingers, and we have game, set, match to the Utah Stingers. Congratulations to them. They win set number 3, 25-22. They find themselves in tonight's finals against the OC Stunners. That will be a 7 p.m. start local time, as you see both number 1 seeds facing off in tonight's final match. The Ramblers just never really got going in that match, and unfortunately couldn't pull off a set win. They will have a quick turnaround here, and they have about, I believe, an hour and 45 minutes before the 3rd place match, which will see the Las Vegas Ramblers versus Team Freedom. So, credit to where credit is due. The Utah Stingers really dominating the block and defense game. I believe they finished that match with at least 20 to 21 blocks, terminal blocks for points. That's nearly an entire game that was won from their block and defense. The continual service pressure from the Stingers never allowed the Ramblers to find a comfortable serve-receive program and then in turn run their offense. As you see a nice team photo here being taken by the home team. Really credit Russell Holmes and Jake Langlois on their size and ability at the net to really put a premium on their blocking. So going to be a very interesting matchup to see the block and defense of the Utah Stingers taking on the explosive offense of the Orange County Stunners tonight in the finals. It'll be very interesting to see Russell Holmes, former Olympian, face off against two-time national champion Nick Amato, one of the middles for OC Stunners. Another underlying kind of storyline there is to see what personnel come out for the Stunners, as we did see an injury be taken by Matt Hilling earlier today. So the Stunners will for sure form a nice game plan, and I'm sure they'll be able to put Jake Langlois and Russell Holm in a position to block another 20 balls for the men in yellow. And as we prepare now to send it over to Olivia with a quick interview. Olivia, take it away.
Thanks, Matt. Jake, your blocking defense was on point tonight. How were you able to execute?
It was actually pretty nice because they didn't set back to me much, so I didn't have to block that much. But the guys blocking, they had a lot of touches. They were getting their hands in the way of the ball, and that makes it easy to dig.
A big 3-set win to send you into the championship. What was key in this victory?
The serving and passing. As you could see, we served tough, and they couldn't set the middles. And when it's with that, or when you can't set the middles, it's only 2 options, and so it's a lot easier to play defense around them.
How would you say you shut down the Ramblers' explosive offense?
The serving. If the pass is off the net, you can't hit it.
Congratulations. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Matt?
Thanks, Olivia. Well said, Jake Langlois. When the pass is off the net, you can't hit it, and that's an advantage to your block and defense. So Once again, OC Stunners versus the Utah Stingers in tonight's championship game. That'll be at 7 p.m. local time. Up next in about an hour and a half, we'll see the Las Vegas Ramblers with a quick turnaround face off against Team Freedom in the third place game. So once again, a quick thank you to the Utah Athletic Center for hosting us this weekend, the National Volleyball Association Utah Showcase, and also one more shout out to our friends at Mikasa, the official ball of the National Volleyball Association. We're going to take a quick break here for about an hour and a half. We'll come back for that third place game. Look for us on nvausa.com, streaming video and broadcast of that match. My name's Matt Prosser. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you shortly for our third place match here from Salt Lake City.